Click on that. Share. Copy link. Got that. And once I send it in here, we'll be good to go.
Cool.
And we're all set, so you can kick it off.
Oh, you posted it in the website. Cool. That's what I was gonna do.
Yep. Alright. Let's kick it off. Where are we at? Go out to the news. That's what I usually do first. Just go through it real quick.
So,
Well, apparently Dirk.
no, yeah, we're live.
Yep.
Want to welcome you guys into the Week 13 review of the games that happened last week. As you can see here,
Got some news and awards and stats to look over.
yeah, we're gonna go over the stats, but we're gonna incorporate a few more things into this week's review. While I'm on vacation, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to try and start this to show you what we're thinking here for Madden 18. But if we go to the AFC picture just to show how things are rounding out here, looks like the Raiders have a deadlock on first place. Looks like the Steelers in the AFC North are second. Texans appearing stronghold on third. Patriots fourth. Jets fifth. And the Bengals holding the sixth spot down. We go to the NFC. Looks like the
Redskins
leading the way there. The Seahawks in second. Packers in third. Eagles in fourth.
And the Packers are still a CPU team. That's crazy.
The Panthers are in fifth, even though they have a new owner change. And the Rams are holding down the sixth spot. So we've got
look out for those Cardinals, though.
Yeah, we got
Cardinals.
Yeah, we got quite a few user teams that still have potential on this side of the ball in the NFC. So I wouldn't count the Cowboys out either. Detroit fan. Steve will probably make his appearance there.
No doubt.
But oops. So going up into the schedule here.
Look at week 13.
We're gonna bounce back here to week 13. We'll start here with the Cowboys and the Vikings.
It's not loaded. There we go. Detroit fan. That wasn't, it wasn't overtime.
Yeah, it was a close game. Looks like Dallas pulled it out in overtime there. Scored a touchdown.
Zeke went crazy.
So just looking at the box scores, 514 yards gained in the game for Dallas. It's a powerful offense he's got there. Only one turnover. Seems like he did pretty well holding on to the ball. He led in time of possession 45 minutes and appears to 11 third down conversions. That's stellar. So we switch over here to the player stats.
Dak Prescott holding it down.
Holding it down big time. 3 TDs, 1 interception, 3 sacks, 27 completions on 42 attempts. So, dink and dunk. Bradford had a pretty good game as well. 95 rating.
Yeah.
2 TDs, no interceptions.
52% though.
Yep. But yards per attempt were basically yard for yard, 7.4, 7.3.
Rushing the ball, of course, you got the monster, Ezekiel Elliott.
30 attempts. Boy, he was pounding the rock. 4.6 yards.
Tavius Murray, not doing too hot.
4 yards per
Alfred
carry.
Morris. Dak had 2 rushing TDs.
That's huge.
Receiving wise, it was all Des Bryant.
I'll let you
11 receptions for
I'll let you
141 yards.
I'll let you take over in the stats. I'll follow along with what you're saying here.
All right, so Des Bryant holding it down here for Dallas. 11 catches, 141 yards, and 2 TDs. And Adam Thielen coming in for, and Diggs coming up huge for the Vikings, but just wasn't enough to pull out the win. And Cole Beasley stuck in a touchdown there. But Jason Witten kept quiet for most of the game. He had 4 receptions for 36 yards, but blocking wise, 2 sacks given up by Reef, 2 sacks by Remmers, 2 sacks by Tyron, and a sack from Byron Bell. So this offensive line needs to keep their quarterbacks upright. Defensively, interceptions from Eric Kendricks. Did he take it to the house? Nope.
Sack game. David Irving led the way for Dallas with 2 sacks in the game, left end. He's a young up and coming kid. He's only got a year in the league. Also led the
Yeah.
way in tackles. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, I was wrong. Jalen Smith led the way in
Yeah, it was
tackles.
Jalen
He's a
Smith.
rookie.
He's also a young cat.
Yep.
Tackles for loss, nothing. Both teams were able to get it past the last scrimmage.
Xavier Rhodes and Byron Jones. Byron Jones is an interesting nickelback in my opinion. 6'1", but he's extremely fast. I like the kid. Extremely quick and fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's only a 1-year vet, so plenty of potential.
2 pass deflections. Only allowed 2
That's a
catches.
successful day.
Yeah, it is. Let's see, any forced fumbles? 1 forced
Nope.
fumble. Yep. Emmanuel
Oh, really?
Lamar. Yep. 1 forced fumble.
What? Wasn't recovered though.
And no defensive touchdowns in this game. All in all, it was a
Pretty
great
clean
game.
game.
Sent it to
Looks like
overtime.
it'd be fun to watch.
We'll
Yeah,
move on to the next game.
Minnesota came back in the fourth, and then Dallas was able to clean up in overtime. So, looking at the Falcons taking an L to the Chiefs, 8-13. So, heavy defensive game. Only 1 touchdown in the game.
Oops. Hang tight 1 second. What I did, Caleb, was I filtered the times played. So if you filter the times played for user games, we've got the Redskins and the Cardinals up top. We just discussed the Cowboys and the Vikings. Go ahead and filter that, and we'll go that way.
Oh, so you're looking at the game that was played twice.
Yeah, you got it.
So the Redskins and the Cardinals.
You got it. Oh, look at that.
So they were tied at halftime, and then the scoreless third quarter, and then Washington scored just a little bit more than the Cardinals to push it out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, from what I hear, it was like in the last 18 seconds too. This must have been a good game. The Redskins had 21 first downs though. I'm sure they held onto the ball from what it looks like. Yeah, they doubled in time of
18.
possession. So they held the ball and they doubled time of possession. Less turnovers. Turnovers will kill you every time. That 1 extra turnover may have cost Arizona the game.
Yeah, Carson Palmer isn't that great of a quarterback.
Moving on to the player stats.
We got Kirk Cousins passing for 318 yards, 2 TDs, and a pick. So, pretty solid game from him.
29 to 33, 87% completion percentage. It's outstanding.
Hopefully they get him re-signed for next year.
Or maybe they'll trade him to Cleveland. We need a quarterback.
You got like 9 quarterbacks.
Yeah, we've had 26 since we've come back in the league, so. So
I want
moving
to get
on.
that jersey with all the names coming down the line.
Yeah, it's historic in
Look,
Cleveland, buddy.
looking at Carson Palmer, 3 TDs, 2 picks, 66%. So it's a solid game. Just those 2 picks will kill you every time.
That's it. That's what beats you up.
Rushing the ball, Andre Ellington got huge carries.
No touchdowns though.
Yeah, but he averaged a first down per carry. Then you got
Yes.
Trey Mason, ISIS boy, got
Sounds
touchdown.
sounds like the Cardinals should have ran the ball a little bit more if he was getting those kind of yards. First down
Wait,
per carry.
what happened to David Johnson?
I don't know. Probably got, I don't know. No
Let me go
yards, no
look at the
attempts.
injury. Look at the. I'm gonna go look at the injury report.
Yep.
You keep going.
Kirk Cousins led the way with 2 rushing touchdowns, really. So 3 attempts, 3 yards, so a yard per game. So he must have got to the goal line twice. Wow, look at that. The longest here here's the longest run of the game was by Andre Ellington. He had a 56-yard rush. So
That'll do it.
those numbers got skewed a little bit. Other than that,
Just
pretty solid
a
game.
report on David Johnson. He has a shoulder tear and he's out for 3 weeks.
Uh,
So that must have happened pretty recently.
Looking here at the receiving, Jamison Crowder again. This is a couple weeks back to back now. This guy's had big numbers. He's using them the right way. Very shifty receiver. Two receiving touchdowns, 11 yards per average reception.
That's crazy.
8 total receptions, 90 yards.
That's a struggle to make my way back to the schedule.
J.J. Nelson, 3 receptions, 141 yards, 47 on an average. He also had 2 touchdowns.
There we go. Now I'm back. Who we looking at?
His longest reception was 75 yards. That's the way Carson pushes the ball down the field.
Yeah, JJ Nelson's a beast. He's a very quick, elusive receiver, and
Yep.
he matches up nicely with Larry Fitzgerald and John Brown.
Terrell Pryor, 6 receptions for
Ah,
58 yards, no receiving touchdowns. And Jordan Reed looks to be 5 for 57, averaging a first down. All in all, it looks like this was a passing game back and forth. Pretty good stats there. Going to the blocking.
Blocking wise, no sacks.
No sacks. Woo! Nothing allowed, at least. What do we got here?
Defensively,
No sacks in this game at all. Defensively, not one guy had a sack.
Tremaine Brock had 2 picks. Look at him making a statement. I don't know how far down he is on that depth chart.
Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, came up with a pick as well. Any
Honey
defensive
Badger
touchdowns?
does it all. Nothing.
No defensive touchdowns. There is a forced fumble on the list. Deion Buchanan,
Deion
the guy
Buchanan.
who led this game in tackles too, if I recall, or damn near close to it. Yeah, led the game in tackles and forced fumble. That's outstanding for a free safety.
Any tackles for loss? We got Zach Brown and Jonathan Allen and Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Jonathan Allen's a rookie too. Right in, like that'll do it.
That does it. Moving on to the Chiefs and the Falcons. C Money, one of our new guys
What's
that
going
came
on?
into the league.
What happened here?
He took a loss, it looks like.
He got a safety in the first quarter, then fell apart.
You know,
But he held his own. Like
he had no rushing yards. He had -4 rushing yards.
what happened to Matt Ryan?
Not sure yet.
I'm gonna go check the injury report.
Ooh, he had 5 turnovers. That'll get you every time. Ooh.
Yeah, Scotty has a pretty good experience with turnovers getting you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And couldn't Kansas City just held onto the ball. I mean, 20 minutes, 21 minutes of time of possession. Can't win if you don't have the ball.
Oh no, Matt Ryan has a ruptured disc and he's out for 7 weeks.
Wow.
And Robert Alford, the corner, has a partial MCL tear and he's out for 6 weeks.
Well, Gradkowski came in and was serviceable. Looks like Matt
But
Ryan.
those,
He didn't even touch the ball. He must have been hurt since last week.
yeah, I don't know.
Matt Matt Schaub had a 16.8 quarterback ranking, 3 interceptions. He just could not get it going with Matt Schaub. He had a sack. He was 7-19 with a 36% completion percentage. Bruce Gradkowski came in through an interception and a touchdown at least, so he was serviceable.
Playing cleanup, but he only passed it 9 times with him.
Yep. There's the story of the ball
Rushing
game right there. That's the story. 24 attempts,
there.
106 yards, 4.4 average, 1 TD, 4 broken tackles, but he controlled the ball.
That's all you have to do.
Yep, controlled the line of scrimmage.
That KC CPU doesn't play around.
Devonta Freeman only had 5 attempts for -4 yards. Got to run the ball. That killed him. He had 3 broken tackles too with -4 yards. Huh. I look for him to get that turned up.
I'm sure this isn't a permanent thing.
Devonta Freeman had 6 receptions for 60 yards, almost averaging a first down, no touchdowns. So he may have been running the screen game with Devonta Freeman or
The
to
only TD was to Julio Jones, who had 2 receptions for 104 yards.
yep. And that one lone TD came from Gradkowski. It was an 80-yard bomb.
That's crazy.
2 receptions, 80 yards of that reception. 80 yards came on 1 reception. He had 104 yards. Boy, that when you lose your quarterback, man, it changes everything.
It does. Blocking wise, 1 sack from Ryan Schrader, 1 sack from Eric Fisher, 1 sack from Zach Fulton.
So he was putting pressure
So
on him. He was getting pressure on him from his defense. 2 of the
3 tackles for losses.
yeah, just from
As I press
Deion
the
Jones
circle
alone,
button.
and he's a rookie. He was definitely getting pressure on them. I mean, you figure he had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for losses out of 1 guy. Vic Beasley had 2 tackles for losses. Ricardo Allen had a tackle for loss. He was getting in the backfield. He was getting after it. 16 tackles this guy had. Deion Jones.
That's crazy, but he couldn't get the game. He
No,
couldn't seal it up.
well, the interceptions, that's what killed him. I mean, one Marcus Peters had 2 interceptions alone. Derek Johnson had an interception. Rameek Wilson had
And
an
then,
interception. The turnovers
then
just killed him.
Quan O'Neal, Duke Riley tried to help him out, but all it takes is just 1 interception
No defensive touchdowns. And
and
forced
no
fumbles.
fumbles.
No fumbles. Yeah,
Oh,
one
one
fumble. Justin Houston.
was recovered by Tom Howley.
Yep. So it said he had 5 turnovers, so I was looking for that 5th one. He had 4 interceptions and a fumble. We're gonna move on. That game was a little rough.
I'm sure the Falcons will clean it up.
Oh yeah, I expect C Money to clean it up for sure. Go to the Rams and the Patriots. Looks like Ryan enjoys scoring points.
That'll do it. Except I almost choked against the CPU the other day.
By halftime, he was up.
He was up
Big time.
20, 35-7.
Yeah, by halftime.
Then they almost choked it in the fourth quarter, then scored more.
I mean, he still would have won with just a field goal and the halftime score.
Did he even bring in Garoppolo like he said he would? Nope. Me and him were talking when he was playing this game. And then he talked about choking away in the fourth quarter. Then he just packs on more points. But
4 TDs,
time.
Brady. Jared Goff
He
had a
didn't
pretty
even
good
have
game. 2 interceptions is what killed the Rams.
That'll do it.
I mean, Brady's
350.
completion percentage is horrible, 53%.
He's being a little reckless with that ball, but he's not getting consequences.
And New England is definitely not running the ball. They're not holding on. They're not running the clock.
Like they should be.
With a lead like that, yeah, you want to hold on to it and preserve it.
You're in trouble now, Ryan. Todd Gurley with the rushing touchdown. 4 broken tackles.
Yeah.
Receiving wise, Jacob Tamme. 2 touchdowns, 127 yards on 9 receptions. It's proven that he's still a serviceable tight end. Robert Woods with 7 receptions and a touchdown.
Brandon
Chris
Cooks with 2
Hogan
TDs.
on 2 receptions for 93 yards.
Yep.
Other than that, like, you got Dwayne Allen with a touchdown. And Chris Hogan
That's it.
with a 60-yard bomb.
They went back to back there. 57 and 60 yards. Blocking. Oh wow, boy, it was a sack fest.
Marcus the obese chipmunk Cannon with 2 sacks given up. Shaq Mason with a sack given up. Roger Salford, Greg Robinson, Josh Sullivan. Devin McCourty with tackle for loss, the 8 leading in tackles and a pick.
Yeah, Devin McCourty had a hell of a game. It looks like we got a touchdown here, a pick 6, Stephen Gilmore.
Oh yeah, he was telling me
Yeah.
about that.
Same with Devin McCourty. He had 2 pick 6s. That was a big part of the game right there for points. I was going to say offensively, I didn't see where it was coming from. Brady had a lackluster game. He wasn't running the ball. So he's got 14 points right there just off of defense. There's not much you can do about that. So the scoring isn't really an issue. You got 2 pick 6s. That's fair game.
3 sacks from Dante Hightower.
Yep, it was a sack fest. There was no doubt about that. I mean, you've got Rob Ninkovich, Dante Hightower, Trey Flowers, Alan Branch, Devin McCourty, Deron Harmon, DeAndre Levy, Vincent Valentin. Nope, he doesn't have one. So that's where it stops. I mean, that list goes on and on and on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's an outstanding defensive game. Put
But
the
yet they
pressure
still
on
got
them.
up 28 points.
Yeah, well, you put the pressure on them, and defense turns to offense, baby.
Hightower also had a forced fumble, but it wasn't recovered. So, in conclusion, Ryan dominated that game.
Yep, absolutely did. It's a good game.
We have our first tie of the year.
Really?
Wait, no, that's later. That's later. Moving Houston
and
and
Green
Green
Bay.
Bay.
Wow. That's a pretty solid game right there. Pretty even.
Back and forth.
Green Bay looks to have led the time of possession from what I'm looking at. Yeah, not by much, but back and forth, definitely an even game.
We got
The turnovers were equal, and really, I don't see how Green Bay lost this game. I really don't. They were
pro.
outgained. They were outgained by what 43 yards. But I mean, really, when you break it down, Green Bay had the most first downs. They led in time of possession. The turnovers were
Maybe
equal. They led in
maybe
third
just
down
one.
conversions. This was a one-play game.
That's what I had to be.
So as we go to the
J-
player stats here, Josh
Josh
Johnson.
Johnson leading the way.
Yep.
What happened to Sean Watson? Let's look.
Aaron Rodgers with two uncharacteristic picks. He doesn't really throw those.
Yeah, Rodgers always has those 1 or 2 bad games a year.
Josh Johnson was sacked twice. Deshaun Watson's not playing. Is he injured? Or is he just not playing him?
I'm looking. I noticed that right off the bat.
I mean, Josh Johnson had a hell of a game. You don't even need Deshaun Watson. There you go. Falcons, you might want to be contacting the Texans to make a trade. Josh
Deshaun
Johnson's.
Watson he's not even hurt. Deshaun Watson's not even hurt.
There you go. Josh Johnson's making himself a trade candidate there. Falcons, Falcons, you may want to go look for Josh Johnson. Moving on to the rushing
Jets are
here.
looking that up too.
Yeah, Jets are looking there too. See, now you got competition. You better hurry up, get on the ball. LeGarrette Blunt pounding the ball.
Oh yeah,
26
LeGarrette Blount is
attempts.
on the Packers in here.
Lamar Miller with one fumble.
Anything that stands out to you?
Nothing that's crazy. I mean, it's just ultimately just a good, hard fought game right here. I mean, I would have loved to have watched this game. This game went back and forth.
Here's something that stands out to me. Will Fuller.
Oh, you went to the receiving already. Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 213 yards. That's quite a bit.
On just 5 receptions.
Yep. He's got something working for him there.
And he's got like 77 catching. It's crazy.
80. He's got the deep ball working for him. An 80-yard bomb. That's a big part of the yardage there. I mean, 80 yards on 5 receptions. That's 133 yards roughly that he caught on 4 different receptions. But yeah, that definitely stands out. But I mean, it can happen. We saw Julio Jones work wonders last year. What do you have? 250 plus yards in one game. That
Yeah.
was outstanding.
Looking at the blocking, just 2 sacks given up from Houston. Greg Max and Derek Newton. Center and the right tackle.
Andre Hall leading the way for tackles. 11 tackles.
Look at that.
Tackles
Proving
for
his worth.
loss. Yeah. Quite a few tackles for loss here.
Nick Perry, Bernardrick McKinney, my boy. J.J. Watt getting in there. Mike Daniels, Kevin King, and Ricky
Wow.
Jean Francois.
Jadeveon Clowney had both of the interceptions on Aaron Rodgers. A linebacker. And a rushing linebacker at that.
That's some like Khalil Mack kind of stats there. And he took
Yeah.
one to the house.
He sure did. I was just looking at that, a touchdown. Just looking at that. There was one forced fumble by Clay Matthews and recovered by Clay Matthews. And he also took that fumble to the house. So Green Bay had a touchdown defensively. This would have been a great
Those
game to
light,
watch.
those linebackers will get you.
Yeah, this would have been a great game to watch. I'm going to move on to the next game here.
I love how we're like so low energy.
So Bills at Raiders. And
Uh, I
this
hate I hate looking at the Raiders games
Why is that?
because Derek Carr already broke Peyton Manning's touchdown record.
Oh, yeah. I hate looking at the Raiders games because the owner is a Golden State Warriors fan. So if you're watching,
That
screw
too.
you, buddy. Nah. JR is my boy. He's cool. All in all, 19 offensive. They were tied in first downs. Just Derek Carr is a beast, man. This actually went to overtime, believe it or not.
Houseway.
The rushing yards. Oakland gave up a ton of rushing yards. 236 yards.
And I like to pinpoint Oakland had 4 red zone offensive touchdowns to Buffalo's 3. So teams were moving the ball.
Yeah, they were. Buffalo should have won this game. I mean, they held the ball longer. But, you know, JR, he pulled out one of his trick plays in overtime.
That'll get you.
That's it. So, heading into the individual stats here, Derek Carr, wonderful passer rating, 3 TDs to 1 interception, was sacked 1 time, and completion percentage is 71%. That's a solid. That's an above solid game. 300 yards passing, pretty much.
Tyrod was solid too, just no touchdown to prove for it.
Yep. Well, don't need to score touchdowns when you got LaShawn McCoy chewing you up. 35 rushing attempts for 226 yards. The guy had 3 TDs by himself.
Marshawn Lynch getting in there too.
Yep, 25 for 138. And then Jalen Richard, 7 of 27. Which
And then we
leads
got
me.
Tyrod with a touchdown.
Yep. Tyrod with 2 broken tackles as well. This was a damn good game, it looks like. I would have enjoyed watching this one too. Receiving?
See, this is. I'd like to make a statement to all the other users. This is why you gotta stream your games on the YouTube account because we'd like to see half of these games go down.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's what the YouTube account's created for. So
But we'll save that
so
for closing notes.
and that may be something that we talk about going into next year, that games must be streamed. So
We'll talk about that at the end.
you got it. Amari
Amari
Cooper
Cooper
here is a
going off.
standout. Yep, you got it. 4 receptions for 150.
This guy's a future superstar.
But I can't complain. I mean, he's really passing the ball around. I mean, 3, 3, and 4. Each one of them have a touchdown. He's spreading the wealth there.
And then
Blocking?
Buffalo just couldn't get anything going.
No. Buffalo had 2 sacks, though. 2 sacks allowed, I'm sorry. So, yeah, Buffalo couldn't get anything going. Khalil Mack, I'm sure, just tortured Tyrod Taylor.
Except, remember about LeSean
No,
McCoy.
Khalil Mack didn't do anything, man. Khalil Mack had a half sack with 6 tackles and none for loss. This was that's an uncharacteristic game of Khalil Mack.
He'll step it up.
Alden Smith, 1.5. Only 2 picks in the game. And nothing returned for a touchdown.
Pretty solid game.
I would say this was an offensive game. I wouldn't put a dub on this that it was a defensive game at all. There was a lot of scoring, a lot of rushing yards. And it seemed like he just had to pass to stay in the game. When you go back and look at the box score, definitely an offensive game. 457 yards to 382. 34 to 40. Yeah, definitely an offensive game.
And overtime too, so it was a thriller. Moving on to what's the next one?
We're gonna be going to the Panthers and Seahawks.
Alright, so yeah, just remember Nick is the Seahawks here.
Yeah. This game caused for removal of one of the users that we invited. Based on the
28
game,
points in the second quarter.
you know, based on the game, the player was using a lot of the same plays over and over and over. It's not something I'm going to stand for. I wrote a
Yeah.
very, very large, long message. I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to it, the users are what make this league, and I want to continue creating the type of environment where it's more of a brotherhood, not where it's. I've been in multiple leagues where guys are, frankly, douchebags. I don't even want to be a part of the league because guys are idiots. They don't communicate well, and I want to break that mold. I don't play the game just to sim, and I want to create the environment and, of the feel for Sunday. So as long as you play the game the way that you see it on Sunday, you don't watch teams run the ball, or I'm sorry, run the same plays over and over and over and over again. It just doesn't happen. So it's not something that we're going to put up with. And if you play the game the right way, I feel like you get rewarded. So, but really, just to be frank with you, this isn't even a game I'm interested in breaking down, considering the fact that I mean Russell Wilson has a perfect passer rating, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions, and I'd be willing to bet that if we look at the rushing stats on this with Russell Wilson, 5 for 47 with 2 TDs rushing as well. He had 9.4 yards per carry. The guy only ran like 3 or 4 plays the entire game, and if the receivers were covered, then it left a gaping hole for Russell Wilson. So I'm just gonna back out of this one.
Jimmy
It's not even worth
Jimmy
worth
Graham
looking
was
at.
huge into his game plan, but this is definitely not what you're looking for when it comes to realness and playing it how you see it on Sundays.
You got it. Colts at Jets.
Oh no, don't even. Ugh. You can do
Well,
this. Like I don't even want to think about this game.
well, it looks like at halftime you were down a touchdown, and then it appears you guys came out after halftime. You were still down a touchdown, and you lost by a touchdown. I mean,
I tied it up, and then he scored. Like I don't want to complain here, but I'm gonna just say what I'm thinking. So he got like these three first play like huge bombs to Philip Dorsett, and they were both like down to the one or touchdowns. And then he got this like sideline catch with Philip Dorsett on the first play. Like it was a frustrating game, and he was on some like excruciating pain type of stuff too. So I'm mad that I lost. All
well,
right, you can.
to me it looks like a great all-around game. I mean, when you break it down, you had you had about 40 less yards total offensively, but that 40 less yards, you outrushed him by 40 yards. So, I mean, you were holding on to the ball. He got you by one first down. So when I really look at this game, I see in a fairly even game. You converted on third downs 7 times. He had one fourth down conversion, which was probably a difference maker, and he had
Yeah,
four
it was
red zone
bullshit.
offensive touchdowns. But you held the ball longer, so it appears he scored quicker and only
Yep.
gained 40 more yards. To me, it appears you played a pretty damn good game.
Maybe
And
it's that I'm hard on myself. I don't know.
Andrew Luck, 120 rating, 2 TDs, 1 interception. And I mean, overall, that's a pretty average completion percentage, 67%. So I don't see anything out of the norm. Hell, you sacked him twice. Both of you guys had a 72, 75 yard pass. I mean, to me, that looks pretty even. The only thing that I would go back and look at was you had one less TD pass compared to Andrew Luck.
But Blaine Gabbert had
And
2 rushing touchdowns.
yep, and your completion percentage was lower. But looking at the rushing here, Forte, I mean, hell, I mean, you outran him. Like I said, you had 40 more yards running the ball. That's that's a to me that's a damn good game, man. Looking at the
It
rushing
was live
touchdowns,
streamed.
Blaine Gabbert had two. Ryan Matthews had two rushing touchdowns.
And Kelly had one.
Nope. receiving. Dorsett, that's what killed you. And this guy was a monster, 237 yards. So he
He
definitely
got
has,
like 5 lucky catches over Revis. Like,
yeah, yeah, 72 yards. He definitely had it working in his favor here. 6 receptions for 237 yards. Gary Barnidge, the ex-Cleveland Brown, 5 receptions for 80 yards. But Philip Dorsett with 2 touchdowns, Decker with 1. And those are your 2 long pass plays, too. Each one of those guys. Looking at the blocking, 1 sack was allowed. Looking at the defense, it appears there were 2 sacks in the game. So both from the Jets. You got to the quarterback. He didn't.
even a forced fumble.
Jabal Sheard plays for the Colts now.
Yeah.
He's an ex-Cleveland Brown. Malik Hooker, the Ohio State boy. I love this kid. He's going to be a hell of a ball hawk. But no interceptions this game. We had 2 picks. Darrell Revis had 1. Clayton Gaithers had 1.
Then the
And
fumble from Leonard Williams.
no defensive touchdowns. And Leonard Williams had a forced fumble. We're going to move on to the... I think
This
that does
game
it
was
for all of our
frustrating.
user games. That's a hell of a game, though. You can't be mad about that.
So,
That's all
is
the
that all the
user
user
games.
games?
Yeah,
But
I was on my bye week, so I didn't get a game in.
let me point out though, the Broncos and the Jaguars tied at 23.
Yep, they sure did. Virtual didn't play. I think the Bengals and the Eagles game got simmed. With me being on vacation, I didn't get a chance to put anyone on auto there, so I apologize, guys. Spunky lost to my boy Josh, and it looks like the Pittsburgh game. Woo! 51 to
Smoked them.
14, and that's a computer game. I'm gonna look at this game. Look at this. Boy, Pittsburgh took it to him. 24 points in the second quarter. Yeah,
That's wild.
put a smackdown on them. 51 to 14.
Le'Veon Bell had a monster day.
I was gonna say,
I'm just
who did it for him? Yeah,
quickly going through.
164. That's a hell of a game. 3 touchdowns. What did Antonio Brown do? Anything?
Touchdown.
1 touchdown. Odell Beckham was quiet, held in check. 3 receptions for 31 yards and 1 TD. Who got the sacks?
Oliver Vernon, Damon Harrison, Dalvin Tomlinson. So no sacks from the Steelers.
Nobody. No, that's crazy. Who had the interceptions? Ryan Shazier.
Ryan Shazier.
And no defensive
He's a weird looking
touchdowns.
dude.
No defensive touchdowns. This was purely an offensive game from the Pittsburgh. Wow, that's crazy. Well, that's going to lead us into
No
the
doubt
next
about it.
part that I want to display for you guys. So, tell me if you can see this on the live stream here, Caleb. And this is something that we're going to try and incorporate definitely into next year, but this is our Daddy League site, and we have the game of the week coming up here with Green Bay and the Seattle Seahawks. The blue screen, so it won't let me screen share this, huh? It's probably not picking up either one of our voices. Is it? Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way to incorporate putting this website into our weekly into our weekly updates. Well, I think they make a Hopage unit that we can use. But the game of the week this week is going to be Seattle and Green Bay. Offensive player of the weeks were LaShawn McCoy. Defensive player of the week was K'Wan Alexander for the Bucks. I wanted to kind of break down exactly what the website looks like and how we can use it. Show you guys the clicker for the time on the next advance, and then go through the power rankings. But it doesn't appear we'll be able to do that. And going through the power rankings though, Oakland leads the way here, 13-0. Their previous ranking was first. They didn't move any this week. However, Pittsburgh this week is number 2. Their previous rank was 5th. They're at 10-3. The Green Bay Packers are 3rd this week. Previous rank was 4th. They're 9-3. The Seattle Seahawks are 4th this week with a previous ranking of 3rd. And to round out the top 5, the Washington Redskins are in the top 5. Previous rank was 2nd. So Washington dropped from number 2 to number 5. And my Cleveland Browns are all the way down to 27. The Jets are not even ranked. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. The Jets are the Jets are 12th, previously 10th. You're 7-5 on the season, and you dropped down 2 slots. You were shaping off the top 10, but now you're 12th. So what I did want to do was I was going to show you guys when I started reviewing some things, and I looked at the Oakland Raiders specifically. They score 42 points per game, roughly 500 yards per game, and they're first place in points and yards. Defensively, they're 3rd. They allow 21 points per game. But when you look at their defense, they allow the least amount of yards total by 291. Looking at the passing stats here, Derek Carr has 183 completions to 300 attempts for 3,700 yards, 57 TDs. So now keep in mind that these stats are synced from last week, not what he's currently done. Marshawn Lynch has 327 attempts for 1,800 rushing yards, and that number looked a little crazy to me when I saw 1,800 yards, considering the fact that really the league record is 2,000 yards, or a little above that. So when I went in and I dug a little deeper, Marshawn Lynch though isn't really doing anything outside of the norm from what I see. I mean, just in the last 4 games alone against Kansas City, which was kind of a blowout, 42-10. The guy had 178 yards on 27 carries, and he averaged 6.6 yards. He had a fumble, and his longest rush, though, was 25 yards. So when I look at this, I don't really see anything out of the norm that would say he's cheating or anything. And I know a couple guys have brought up his scores to me, but the previous week, he had 25 attempts for 138 yards. 14 was his longest. Week before that, he was 19 attempts for 178 yards. His longest was a 52-yard carry, but that could happen in any game. And a week before that was 21 yards for his longest carry, 15 attempts at 64 yards, and that was a close game. Houston and Oakland, I mean, 38-21. It wasn't necessarily a blowout. I mean, the guy, I think he's playing the game the right way. I think he needs a little bit more competition personally, but all in all, I think he's playing the game fair. Who? Yeah, he needs. Oh, that's what you're thinking. I thought you said that. Guess who I'm picking? So, I I'm really bummed that I couldn't show you guys the website because I do quite a bit of work in regards to trying to get HTML updated and to move things around. I implemented the Facebook page onto our web page so that you can literally click to join our member league, the member page. The forums, available teams, league suggestions that you guys can go to the site and fill out. Your commissioners with screen names, and then the advanced clock. It shows you when every time we sync, it updates it. So you've got the rules and pretty much everything that you guys could want to do. I think I'm going to incorporate some screenshots and show you guys how to actually sign up to be a part of the web page, so that you guys can actually go into the Daddy League site, log in, and then I can assign your team to you, so that you can actually search free agents, compare players, make trades, free agents, things of that nature through the website. Hopefully they bring back the trade option next year. Don't know if they will, but ultimately you'll be able to look at other teams, look at stats, a lot easier than it is to do through the Madden game itself. But all in all, man, I'm really pleased to see where this league's going and how it's forming, and look forward to Madden 18. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to sign off for this broadcast, and we'll catch you next week.